have our opinions, but it's because that's what we want on the shows.
Yeah, like we want this on the shows. I mean, she posted this thing also recently. Did you see with like the vibrators?
Oh
It's
yeah,
see, which is I assume a paid ad, and she's saying
sure.
like, you know,
I sure hope so.
I'm in my self-love era and I'm doing it on my own. So like we want this for Brittany, like, right? But I mean, to your point, is this really how it's gonna go down? And I mean, then that leads into, you know, there is this school of thought now that, you know, Jax in the facility did you see this theory that that was to soften the blow of this? Because who's going to be on Jax's side when, you know, poor Brittany, the wallflowers, finally has her voice, and this is the guy that cheated in a chunky sweater on Stassi. I read, like, did you see that theory that checking in to a mental health facility was the way to say, poor Jax? And I mean, if that is the case, it is working. I see a lot of people that are tearing Brittany apart in the comments.
I didn't see that. I believe it, but I also feel like the other theory I saw more was like at the end of the season one, where Jax is like, "Oh, I'm going to start seeing this therapist," and she's like, now, when I gave you an ultimatum," and so maybe that like saw itself through, and it happened again. But also, like the thing that kept creeping up in my timeline, and maybe it says more about me than anything else, are the people's theories that it's like, yeah, mental health facility or rehab. And, I don't know what Jax has done. Everyone's got theories on all the substances, all the people on these shows do. But we definitely know he was out drinking a lot. And Brittany was talking about how he would be out late drinking at the bar. And part of his mental health treatment could have also been like, I've got a problem. And he may or may not have a problem with substances. But I do think like all of this fits in that same box of like really good timing for the show. And, if Jax was in there for 30 days while they were filming, that's like what, a third of the filming schedule. So did he have access to the outside world? Did people come visit him? What sort of facility is this? And is it the soften the blow thing is a great call because yeah, like no one's on Jax's side. Like no one's like, oh, geez, that Jax, if only he didn't cheat on his girlfriend all the time and yell at people and cause drama, I'd really like him.
Yeah. Yes, and yes. I mean, that's the thing. I saw a bunch of comments that were now starting to paint Brittany as like the villain of like, you served him on camera. Like, yes, we know how it all works, but like poor Jax, like the guy just got out of the facility and just got home. And now I don't know
Let
if
me ask you
that
this.
theory is going to last, but I saw enough people that were like, yeah, you bitch. I mean, there's a lot of people that just don't like Brittany. They never did.
Yeah, I mean,
They thought she's an opportunist. I've seen that before, right? That like
yeah, I mean, I
you
saw that
wanted
way back in the
Jax.
day too,
Yeah.
right? And I think that there's a level of opportunism there, but I think you could say that about just about everyone. I think that like Brittany gets hate skewed towards her maybe abnormally more than other people, but like everyone on these shows, especially in the Vanderpump world, like does not have a clean track record at all.
No.
And it is odd to see that and how quickly people can change their opinion. But one thing that reminded me of is like the whole Brits situation when they changed the name of Jax's
Mm-hmm.
for fun. And the the thing I don't get about this, because that was right around the time Jax was getting let out as well. And there was such a like passive aggressive messaging of this. Like I especially saw on Nia's post where it's like, we always call it Brits anyway, so we're just changing it to Brits all for fun. We're having fun. It's just for fun, everyone. Just make sure you know it's for fun. It's like, so that's really easy for you to say and fall back on, but you also have to acknowledge that, like, is that fun for Jax? Like, whether or not you're going to admit it, it's to get a rise out of him. I mean, even what's his
Yeah.
name? Zach was like, he's petty with a purpose. Like, the purpose is to get a rise out of Jax, as much as you want to say it's for fun. And that's the thinking of these people on these shows, man. They put out the fallback, the thing you can you can say, oh, it was just fun, but really, it makes great TV.
It makes great TV. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is, did you see this whole thing that now, well, I'm sure you saw that he learned that he has bipolar disorder and PTSD. I don't know what the PTSD is for. I didn't.
No, that was very, like I hate having to put the caveat on everything of like if it's true, but let's just say this is true, right? It's a very vague post, the black and white somber photo, reading a book. I've been diagnosed with PTSD and bipolar. Um, I'm not even sure they use the term bipolar anymore, but that off to the side, uh, I don't know what the PTSD is either, and it almost feels like the worst side of me thinks this is a calculated post for people to start speculating what the PTSD could be. Because I think it's pretty clear. Like, I hate being an armchair analyst, but like he has if he has a, you know, borderline disorder, the PTSD might come hand in hand with that. But he's lived a fairly rough life, and not just his father passing away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think it's all that?
Well, I think he definitely has some things he needs to work through, and he has had a skewed view on traditional roles of being a man. Like, I think he was raised by the TV show Friends, and he models his life after the dating relationships on that show. He's like, guys do this, girls do this. There's no in between. And that's all we've ever seen on the show. In his private life, maybe he's completely different, but from what we've seen, he has just a skewed look on the world. And I think the chickens have come home to roost, as they say.
Yeah. And if this does happen and they get a divorce, he should take this as a like, okay, figure your shit out.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
you have a son, so it's positive. This is a positive
Yes.
experience. But I guess I'm shocked in the sense that, like, I don't know, maybe I'm naive. I thought Jax really changed. I really remember only a year ago when he was telling Tom Sandoval, it's so funny, you're a mess and you're wearing nail polish, and Schwartz is living in a rundown place with a plant. And, I'm going home. I mean, how many times was it posted? It's 10 o'clock, guys. Look what I do on a Friday night. Here I am with my son.
Yeah, and he did a real good job of almost pulling the wool over everyone's eyes, and then we saw the season of the Valley. He like most people ever will post what they want people to think about their life. Like, no one's out there going, I mean, some people, but no one's really posting all the depressing shit that they have a hard time even admitting to themselves. They're just gonna post. So maybe this post about his diagnosis